Hello,
Hello.
everyone. I'm Riana Milne, and I'm so happy to bring with you an amazing guest all the way from Germany, my good friend, Dr. Peter Fricke. And he's got so much to share with my tribe today. And I've been trying to nail him down for this interview for a while. And here he is on the opposite side of the world chatting with us. So let me tell you a little bit about this amazing man. How are you, Peter?
Fine. Thank you, Rihanna. Thank you for this invitation, and hello to everybody out there.
Very good. Let me tell you about him. I am going to read this so it's done right. As early as a teenager, Dr. Peter Fricke wanted to learn how to be successful and happy at the same time without wearing himself out. After graduating from medical school in Dusseldorf, Germany, he was trained in aerospace medicine and flight psychology by U.S. Navy in Pensacola, Florida, and was a personal doctor for German Navy jet pilots. After leaving the Navy, he found his private practice for holistic medicine in Kiel, northern Germany. He became a lecturer at the international medical conferences, especially for holistic and spiritual medicine and psychology, and that's why we get along so well. We're both into the same thing. For 3 years, he was an associate professor at the Ovidius University in Constanța, Romania. And forgive me if I said that wrong. His main topics are natural healing, holistic medicine, depth, and applied behavioral psychology. His intention is not only to restore someone's health, but to help healthy people become happier and much more successful in their life. His approach is based on the human psyche, the way we are all hardwired. He has 25 years of experience in relationship issues. He has saved many marriages, and he has helped dozens of single men and women find their dream partner. So we want all those secrets from you today, Peter, in 40 minutes or less.
All right. So may I just introduce you that our listeners know why we are talking together and why we are getting along so nicely?
Sure.
Okay. Riana Milne is a certified, I read this as well because I want to get this right, is a certified global life, dating, and relationship coach. #1 best-selling author, a life and dating coach for the new docuseries Radical Dating, Finding Lasting Love Over 40. Host of her former TV show Lessons in Life and Love, an educational speaker, a licensed mental health counselor, and certified trauma and addictions professional for over 18 years. She's in Delray Beach in Florida. She offers online virtual coaching courses for singles and couples at the www.lifeandlovetrainingacademy.com. Her free app, My Relationship Coach, offers many videos and articles, and her 5-star rated books, Love Beyond Your Dreams, Break Free of Toxic Relationships to Have the Love You Deserve, and Live Beyond Your Dreams, From Fear and Doubt to Personal Power, Purpose, and Success, addresses life transitions, personal transformation, and relationships with yourself and others. Riana's Facebook fan page is Coach Riana Milne, and her website is rianamilne.com.
That's right.
Right. Wonderful.
So, Peter, I would love to ask you questions, but you were kind of anxious to get started on my end. So if you want to ask questions first, and I will come back and ask you a second, we can proceed like that.
Thank you very much. Riana, what would you say, why do so many people, like 9 out of 10, struggle in life and love?
Yes, thank you. Well, it has recently come out in research from the Kaiser Permanente group out of San Diego, California. And I'm so glad that this research was done, that close to 90%, it's like 89.8% of people have at least one adverse childhood event, which we call ACEs, A-C-E. And there's actually about 20 of them, but for podcast reasons and interviews, I usually talk about the top 10 because these are the ones that affect the people the most. And usually when you talk to someone about their childhood, they don't think it's traumatic. It's just what it was. And there could have been a couple of bumps in the road, but they don't think much of it. However, when an adult falls in love, their core, and you talk about the psyche, Peter, and what's hardwired, it's the same for trauma. Trauma is stored in the brain and the body. So different characteristics come out in a love adult relationship where you could feel very successful in life in many different areas, but in a love relationship, different dynamics happen due to what have happened in your past childhood trauma. And even it comes out if you had a bad early dating experience or relationships experience, it kind of hardwires what happens later in life to these relationships that you're involved in.
You mentioned there are like 20 and there are 10 most important ones.
Yes, I'll go over the 10.
Just rename them that we just hear them.
Sure. And I'm going to encourage all the listeners to get a pen and paper and make 3 columns, one for yourself, one for your partner, if you're dating or a past partner you might have struggled with, and then one for your parents. And I'll give you one keyword to write by number 10 all the way down the first column. And then I'll go a little bit deeper into each. So number 1 would be the word addiction. So of course, when you're very young and innocent, we don't know anything except for what our parents show us as normal. So this becomes our normal. So the first childhood trauma would be if your parents had any form of addiction. So it could be drugs, alcohol, pot, pills, sex, porn, cheating, hoarding, spending, eating, gaming, gambling, TV watching. So those are just some right off the cuff. There's other addictions. Those are the most common. So if you were a child and either parent had an addiction. Second one, put down verbal abuse. If you witnessed it between your parents fighting verbally or you're a recipient of verbal abuse. So it'd be name calling, put downs, or even given the silent treatment when mom or dad was mad at you. The third one is emotional abuse or neglect. And a lot of parents don't think I was a single mom, Peter. When I grew up, there were times where I had 5 jobs to support my daughters the way that I wanted them, the lifestyle that I wanted to give them. And, you know, I had to put them with babysitters, or as I got older, I'd say, okay, mom will be back in a few hours. But in a way, this is also described as neglect. If children have to come home by themselves and get their snacks and start their homework while mom's at a job, there is some fear, you know, in the anxiety within them around this because they're still young. So as you know, a lot of parents don't mean to put neglect or emotional abuse upon their children, but this is one example where it still occurred. There's other forms of blatant neglect, of course, and that would be number 3. Number 4 is physical abuse, rape, or molestation, either happening in the home or outside of the home. And that, of course, is a trauma throughout life, but especially as the brain's developing up through age 25, when trauma takes its biggest hold. So, and physical abuse could be hitting or sexual abuse. The next one would be abandonment. And there's 2 types, fault and no fault abandonment. So a no fault abandonment would be if a parent dies early, if a parent has to go off to war, or if a parent travels a lot due to their job to help support the family. It's not their fault that they've abandoned. It's just what is. A fault abandonment would be if there's a divorce and the one parent, let's say a father, goes off and says, I'll see you next weekend, and doesn't show up or shows up late and constantly breaks promises around being present in that child's life. The next one would be whether you're adopted, part of foster care, or had to go live at a relative's or friend's house because mom or dad could not take care of you. Number 7 is a popular one. That's personal trauma. So a lot of kids in the U.S. are bullied in the school system. So, you know, if you were overweight or underweight and teased, you would just look different. For example, I had a beautiful Black American girl in my office. She goes, no, my family was amazing. And I came to number 7. She goes, oh, that's it. She goes, I was the only Black girl in an all-white school. And I was teased horribly. I never fit in. I never felt good enough. And this letter came out as jealousy in her adult love relationship because she didn't feel good enough at the core. So personal trauma could also mean a medical condition when you were born that you had to struggle with or developed as a young person. Next one would be sibling trauma. This is a sibling who might be bullying you or developed their own medical condition and got a lot of attention from mom or dad, born with issues, or they were looked at as the golden child. They were perceived to be more beautiful or more athletic or smarter than you. So you felt kind of second to these siblings. And it may not be the siblings' fault. It just could be what mom and dad did, as they raised you two or your siblings, and did the one feel more special than you. So that's sibling trauma. Number 9, I put 2 together here. One of them is community trauma, and that's actually not one of the top 10s in their research, but I put it there because of all the trauma our countries are going through, like with the fires and the lost homes out in California, all the floods in Florida, Puerto Rico, Houston, but displaced many, many people out of their homes. And this, of course, is traumatic for adults, but can you imagine for children? Losing their homes, can't go to school, their friends are upset. It's a lot of trauma. The mass shootings, like in Las Vegas, these are community traumas that stay within the body and the psyche and brain and cells due to the trauma. And then family trauma would be if someone grew up in poverty, if a parent was incarcerated, a lot of moving. Let's say the military families in the U.S., they have to move every 4 years. This means to a child, new school, new friends. So that's all under family trauma. There's a lot more, but those are a few examples. And the last one, number 10, is a mental health issue in mom or dad, with the most severe being borderline personality. That can be described as mom or dad feeling like one day, I love you, I hate you. You never know what you're going to get when you go home. When they're good, they're great. When they're bad, they're horrid. So borderline's very difficult to live with. Bipolar means manic or depressive, sometimes very happy and other times very sad or depressed. So those are 2 personality types that are difficult for children to live with. If mom or dad has high anxiety, usually that child picks up the anxiety as they grow up in an anxious or depressed household. So those are the 10 traumas, Peter.
That was only 10. I mean,
yes.
I can imagine, and we both know from experience how widely spread this is.
Yes.
And so what happens if someone doesn't deal with this, doesn't recognize it with these emotional triggers and these past childhood trauma, or even relationship traumas that happen to them? What could be the result for a current relationship?
Well, this is the problem. This is when I get people who say to me, Riana, over and over and over again, I keep picking the wrong bad guy, but with a different face. I end up in toxic relationships. And initially, these relationships seem so wonderful. They're given the attention that, the person really craves or desires. They're usually very quick relationships, or a red flag would be someone that wants to hook up very quickly, get married very quickly. But they seem very romantic. And here in the U.S., romance is in our movies, in our storybooks, the romance novels, they sell romance before they sell the real qualities of a good person. In real experience really plays here. So in your opinion, why do so many relationships fail?
Well, my approach is a very simple one. I always, for my patients in medicine and in psychotherapy and as well in relationships, I was always looking for shortcuts. Easy to apply and working 100%. So the number one reason why relationships fail is the expectation.
People, can you go deeper in that?
Yes, people in America as well as in Europe start off when they are young that they say, well, I can expect something from my partner. And this goes for both sexes. And even older ones. I was in America like two weeks ago, and for a meeting with a couple of friends. And in the evening, we had little drinks and a little dinner. And there was one lady who was she's in her late 50s, and she says, "Well, now I think I'm ready for a new relationship, but I don't find a suitable man." I said, I jumped right in because this is my topic.
Yes, we would,
So,
wouldn't we, Peter? We would jump right in on that.
right. So I said, well, what do you want? And she said, well, in the first place, a man has to support a woman because this is his natural task, and the man gives and the woman receives. And I said, well, this is expectation. And expectation, according to Dr. Peter Fricke, is a relationship killer #1. So this resulted in quite some discussion, and other people joined. I will not go into details here, but I think this makes the point clear. And a 23-year-old girl who came to see me because of her relationship problems, when I explained the definitions of true love, she said, one of them is have no expectation. And she said, well, if I'm not supposed to have expectations, why should I marry my boyfriend? So this is how people start off. And as you said, it's a mutual support. I support you and you support me. You can expect something from me and I can expect something for you. This works for a couple of years, but then it doesn't work anymore. And everyone who is, let's say, like 35 and older has usually made this experience, or we have a difference in status, that one is very supportive and the other one is very demanding. But this, being a medical doctor, results in health issues. People get sick.
Yes, which we call toxic relationships.
Toxic relationship, and that,
Dr. Peter, the expectation of being loyal to your partner.
Yes, well, this is an issue of your value system. What I do with couples and singles in terms of relationship, in the very first place, we find out the personal core value system. Your set of core values, which are unique to you, and your needs. You mentioned Tony Robbins. He talks about needs. So we find out how this is distributed. So what do you need to feel strong and centered? So, and you want to have a partner who has the same value system, and faith is one of them.
Yes.
So,
so the expectation that we both are monogamous is okay as long as you both agree on that value.
Well, and if you look to other cultures, they're not monogamous, and if they agree to that, it's fine. If they share the same core value system, it's all right. I mean, you mentioned people being exposed to porn. I mean, if some people share the same sexual direction, it could be all right. But the problem is if someone doesn't feel good with it. So I would put it
or addiction level. Like they're over their partner, or they're watching 15 times a day.
Right.
It's like having a drink socially or having 15 drinks a day.
Yeah.
You know, I think everyone understands use and misuse or abuse.
Yes. So, and if people do not recognize it, just don't know about the expectation and think it is all right to expect something, they will end up in not feeling good in their relationship. And now they have two ways. Either they stay in this relationship, in this toxic relationship, and one of them or both will get sick.
Yeah.
Or they go into separation and divorce, and then they might stay single, not to burn their fingers again, which is not, according to my opinion, is not what nature has meant for you.
Right.
So,
no, just because one relationship didn't work out, in your opinion, why not get the education you need and go back and
right? And as you mentioned, education. We don't get an education. We look at the parents. You mentioned this before, as role models, and also people that abided by social rules or other influences like religion or society or culture, or just the peer group, and they adapt and follow that, but they don't really get an education for relationship.
Yes. And how did you learn what you teach, Peter? I mean,
Well,
how does this relate to your personal life?
I'm happily divorced twice. I have two adult sons, and if I had known at that time what I know today, I would not have married the first time, and I most probably would not have been divorced the second time.
Right.
So
Right. I wish
I
I
learned it
had
from
my
my
own
own
education
experience.
2 years ago.
I learned it from my own experience, and I learned it to help my patients. I come from the medical part. I was a medical doctor in the Navy for jet fighter pilots, and fighter pilots are not allowed to take normal medication because then they are not fit to fly. So they cannot fly when I put them for just be on painkillers. And so I was looking for a different way, just from the medical point of view, to treat them without having to ground them. So I learned acupuncture, and then I wanted to do some more like herbal medicine, phytotherapy, homeopathy. And in my practice later, I found that people have a mental issue as a background for low back pain, for headaches, for heart attacks, heart issues. And so since I could not find someone here of the psychotherapists who would do these shortcuts I was looking for, like I did in physical medicine, I started an education for myself to help my patients, and so I developed these programs. And over the last 25 years and more, I have applied these principles to my patients, and with amazing results.
Wonderful. And do you think it's possible for them to have the relationship of their dreams, even in the long haul?
Yes, if they get the education, if they know the rules, how to do it.
Yes.
And if they understand, you mentioned it before, if they understand the opposite sex. If they, well, women are like this, men are like this. This doesn't make you understand the opposite sex. But if you learn to do that, you have a much better understanding for each other. So if a single woman comes to me, I explain to her friends or boyfriends or husband's behavior. I said, this is the way he thinks. And she said, oh, I didn't know this. And if a man comes, I explain how his wife thinks.
Yes.
And acts, and why she acts.
Yes.
She said, oh, is that true? I said, yes, that's true. This is because this is the way we are hardwired.
Yes.
As humans, right? And if couples come, I have single sessions with each of them, or both come to the same session, and then I have them explain to each other for example, their core values.
Yes.
And their needs.
Yes.
And usually they are not, when they come to see me, usually they cannot really talk to each other. Their anger is in the way. Silent, or they shout at each other, or they blame each other.
Relationship. So unfortunately, these are the models of what U.S. people are saying, oh, I'm in love because there's so much romance or there's so much chemistry. And I warn my people, yes, there should be some attraction and chemistry, but it should not be number one, because chemistry is pulling you back to what is your normal and what you experienced in your past. So all this fast romance and chemistry can actually be a red flag, and you've got to slow things down and really get the education you need. And this is where, I coach my singles into how to find emotionally healthy, evolved, and conscious love. And then I help my couples who end up in a toxic relationship, how to recognize their past childhood traumas and how it's showing up in their love relationships. And then we make the unconscious conscious and work on the emotional triggers that are coming up. And instead of going to that fast trigger reaction that causes such havoc and chaos and cheap drama, as I call it, in their relationships, they learn to slow down, think, where is this coming from, correct it, and talk about their feelings. And each partner then understands the childhood trauma dynamics of each other, and they know where that's coming from, so they're less apt to take it more personally when there's an argument.
Oh, that's very interesting. And but what can people do? How can someone find now a healthy partner, an emotionally healthy partner? How can this be done?
Yes. Well, from my research, there are 20 questions that I talk about in my book, Love Beyond Your Dreams, but I'll mention just a few of them and why they're important to ask. So when you're on your first date, and my people, we all know this term, one and done. Like you might have one date, and from the questions you ask, you know that there's a lot of red flags there, so that you probably will not go on a second date. But dating is a numbers game, and you've got to date a lot of people and ask a lot of questions early on. And it doesn't sound like an interview. It just sounds like regular conversation. So one of the first questions could be, so tell me about your mom and dad. And it's amazing how honest people are. You'll hear, oh gosh, my dad was horrible. He was an alcoholic and very strict and used to beat us kids. Well, now you know there's a lot of red flags. You heard addiction, you heard about physical abuse, and then you'd say, oh, wow, I'm sorry. Did mom and dad fight a lot? Oh, yeah, they were screaming at each other all the time. Now you're hearing verbal abuse. So unless this person has done some personal transformation work, this is number one, that would be an emotionally healthy person. Someone also who is faith-based usually becomes self-aware by their study, personal self-growth study. But someone that is not aware of how this childhood dynamic could play out, these are some of the questions. Then you would ask also about your siblings. So do you have brothers and sisters? Where are they? Do you get along? Well, now we can hear that dynamic. Oh, no, I haven't talked to my brothers in 10 years. Oh, well, why not? So now you're getting information that you really want to know. It depending on the age category, like for our generation, I would have asked, what's your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goal plan for retirement? And like my younger clients who want marriage and a family, that question has to come out on the first night. Well, are you a man that see yourself as wanting to be married and having children? Now, if the man would answer, I don't know, I'll think about it, that's not a good answer. The man would definitely answer, oh yeah, I always see myself as a dad. I definitely want children. That's the answer you want, because you will never talk a man into wanting children, or he'll begrudge the process. So these questions and how they answer are all explained in the book, or it's also part of my coaching program. My clients become very educated in the process of dating that would lead them to find an emotionally healthy and consciously evolved partner. Evolved means to be your highest and best self. Studies also show the best relationships are ones that are faith-based. Doesn't matter what faith it is, but if you share a common grounding in faith, that's very important.
Yeah. Now that's very interesting. And you teach all this?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes,
and
I have my program, Dating for Mating for Singles and Relationship Rescue for Couples.
Oh, great. And I mean, we all know, I would call them the usual relationships, right? Mm-hmm. But we all know those. And we see this in friends and family. But how does an emotionally evolved and conscious relationship, how does that look like?
Well, there's certain things.
Two of these evolved people meet. How would you see, do you see a difference from the outside, or do they see a difference from the inside?
People that are into personal transformation work, it's pretty obvious. They're very excited about it. They can easily talk about it. If there's somebody that says, well, I'm open to learning, you then have to take that risk. How excited are they really? It's best if you can find someone that this is part of their natural makeup, and it's just, we spiritual people say it's just who we are. An emotionally healthy relationship is of equal balance of you, me, and us. There's no codependency. I say to my couples that you put your partner first. It's you and me against the world. In other words, even in a family relationship, the parents come first, then the children. Then if you have elderly parents, they're going to need care. But you two have to be strong first. So your dating has to continue, the romance, the play, the special trips together. People in the U.S. often put their children first and neglect their partner. And then years later, they have no fun, no sexual intimacy, and the relationship falls apart.
Question: is there a difference between men and women, how they see the relationship, or how they what relationship they want? Do you see a difference between
Well,
men
I
and
coach men and women. They really want the same thing. So it's important that we talk about what are the requirements, the deal breakers that you absolutely must have to feel happy in your relationship. And then what are your desires, your wants, your needs? And we look at the past life, because my coaching is a combination of life and love coaching. So we do the life coaching first. And we examine the past childhood traumas to make sure they're all cleaned up, everything is worked on, they're consciously aware if any triggers come up. For example, like I said, jealousy could come from number 7, being bullied and not feeling good enough, meeting that charming man who tends to be a manipulator. That could have been a young man that was told he was no good at home and put down for his ideas and go to school and schmoozes his female teacher and she finds him adorable, and he's used to charming and manipulating, and he would tend to do that with women. Or if he does not have a strong relationship with his mother, if mom is very angry or addicted or has a problem, he may, schmooze the females outside of his home. So that guy could be a player or seeking out, outside female attention. Yeah. Women often become people pleasers. This could be the little girl who grew up with maybe an alcoholic mom, and mom is hungover and angry, so she'll help mom clean the house or take care of the other kids so that she won't be yelled at, and there's more peace in the home. So she'll grow up a woman that people pleases her man, her kids, and then feels angry inside, thinking, I do for everyone else, nobody does for me. So we work on boundaries. So healthy relationships, each person has their own boundaries. They're able to talk about their feelings in a loving, kind, and open way, negotiate through their differences. So we look at all these different dynamics.
Oh, I mean, this is a lot. And if someone hears about this for the first time, do you have anything how they could get started? Do you have anything to someone says, well, I just want to start with this, but this might sound overwhelming. Some spiritual food for them in the first place?
Yes. Well, life's too short to live unhappy. And if you're recognizing some of this trauma, it usually comes up with constant anxiety in your life or fear-based thinking, negative thinking. This is a sign that you're not internally happy. So what I do offer, Peter, is a free life and love transformation strategy session. All they have to do is go to my website to apply, rianamilne.com. Tell me your story. Tell me what you're going through. No one else sees this letter. It comes directly to me. It's very private. I'll give you up to 1 hour of my time. It's worth $500 for singles and $1,000 for couples. I meet my couples on Zoom so we can see each other. And we talk about, what you're struggling with, and I help you identify the past traumas that could be getting in your way. And then I offer one-on-one coaching. It's called VIP coaching for 3 or 6 months. My online academy has group classes for singles, and then my couples can get their education online, but then we have 6 one-on-one meetings together through Zoom. So they're not in a group class as a couple. They're still getting private time with me, but getting all their education online. So I offer various packages depending what you're looking for and how deep the issues are. And we kind of analyze that together. So I'm here to help you however I can.
Okay, great. Then just go to your website, there's a button, and then they can apply, and they get it free because they've watched this interview.
That's right.
Perfect.
And then I also offer free chapter downloads of both Live and Love Beyond Your Dreams right on my homepage of the same website. Just scroll down, just download them, enjoy the books. Meant to go together. Live is about having a happy life through a positive mindset. And the Love book is how to find healthy love and what to avoid. So you know what not to do, and you're going to learn what to look for and what to do that creates that fabulous relationship.
Great, wonderful, Riana. Thank you very much.
I want to get to you.
Yes.
Questions now?
So many things that are possible. It's a world of possibilities nowadays.
I know.
Suffering,
And
right?
and our work is so similar. When I was reading your questions, I'm like, I really want to hear from you how your insight from all your years.
It's a learnable skill, and you just need to learn the rules. It's just like an education. I mean, for even here in Germany, even the little kids at elementary school have to learn how to ride a bike and do some tests before they are allowed to ride the bike to school. And for a motorcycle, we need certifications for everything. But for life and marriage,
yeah, they don't teach it here either. And I have my master's degree in psychology. They do not teach the ideal quality relationship either. So where do you learn it other than now through coaching like us?
And if you see, we are here a little bit closer to Asia, like a wedding, for example, people have no problem spending 20,000, 30,000 or more euro or dollars for a wedding, in the assumption that the more expensive the wedding is or the wedding gown is, the better the marriage will be. But it doesn't have anything to do with each other.
No.
So, and nobody has the idea to spend any money in a relationship course to get the basic training how to interact with each other as a couple.
So tell our listeners how to have this long-term perfect relationship. What do they need? Tell me a little bit about your programs, Peter.
They need a formula. They need a system, which they can learn. Steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the 7 steps of true love. And they learn them, I teach them, and then they apply it in real life. And it's just like kind of like a college degree, right? If you want, for example, you would not go to a guy to do surgery on you if you ask him, where did you learn it? Well, I just looked over the shoulder when my dad did it or my mom did it.
Right.
So now I do surgery on you. You would not do this. If you want high quality, you want someone who has a high quality education.
Correct.
And if you want to provide high quality output in your profession, you need a high quality education from college or university. And if you want a high quality relationship, you need a high quality education for relationships.
That's so true. In life and love.
Simpler. No matter what the brain size or parts of brain is, the results come from actions. And if you learn how to act, if 2 people are a couple, they form a system. And we know from systems theory, if you change one part of the system, the other part has to change.
Yes.
So no matter how the male brain is wired or the female brain is wired, if you change your behavior, the other person will change in that very moment. Right. And this is what I teach, because people come up and say, well, if only my husband would, or if only my wife. We stop it, you change, and I can guarantee that your spouse will change as well. Yes. And this is exactly what I teach in my 5-step viola system, like the flower viola.
Perfect. How can people find out more about that?
They can find out. I wrote a little ebook where I explained this 5-step viola system, and they can download it for free on my webpage. And my webpage is www.perfectrelationshipblueprint. perfectrelationshipblueprint.com. If you go there, you can click and download the ebook. And after downloaded the ebook, I as well offer a study session for the perfect relationship. And it's about the same value, €450, which is about $500. And however, I have limited spots available because I still run my practice, and I cannot do it for everyone. So I do it only for the people who really are ready to make a change, who are really ready to step up and to develop the relationship they always dreamt of. So it is for singles who finally want to meet the perfect partner. And it's for couples who want to upgrade their current relationship to a paradise level. Perfect.
Very good. Well, I thank you so much for joining me today. Dr. Peter Fricke from Dusseldorf, Germany, and a really good friend of mine who I'll be seeing next month for another mutual training that we enjoyed together. And thank you, Peter, for taking the time to talk with my people.
Thank you, Riana, for the invitation, and have a wonderful time, and enjoy life, and upgrade your relationships.
Very good. Thank you. It's
Thank
time
you.
to have the life you desire and the love you deserve.
Right.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.